Be strong.
DJ Tony Duck. She gon' take care of her bitch, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She gon' take care of her kids, she truckin'. Yeah, she a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She truckin'. She a boss, she do it big, she truckin'. She a woman with a rig, she truckin'. She truckin'.
Hi, welcome to She Trekking Podcast Show. I am Malinda. I'm going to be your host for this episode, coming to you live from my truck. We are going to have a fantastic show. A little bit about me. I am a health lifestyle coach that has been certified in health, life, and nutrition. And I've also been working in the medical field for over 25 years. And I want to empower drivers to be healthy on the road. And I am passionate about everybody getting it together and just knocking it out. I drove for almost 5 years now. Not too long after I started driving, I was overweight, and I got a pre-diabetes diagnosis, and it's what scared me healthy. I tried the traditional medical methods that we would always teach patients to do, and they would not work for me. So that's why I went to health and life coaching school, so I could figure out what works for me in the truck. And I just want to share all my knowledge. If you have any questions while you're watching this show, just throw the questions in there and I'll answer as we're going. Hey, how you doing, Joe John? Thanks for coming. And so I am so excited about this. A couple of things, just a little bit about trucking and how it affects our bodies. It is saying that it takes about, if you do a full career of trucking, you can lose about 16 years of your lifespan because of the sedentary driving that we do all the time. And we just need to incorporate a little bit more movements. And one of the biggest issues that I know I had was that I would try to, it's kind of like getting a load. I would try to get to the destination instead of trip planning. And when I learned that to trip plan and break it up into small segments and just do one little thing at a time, it made a world of difference. So, anybody have any questions? Nope, no questions yet. Okay. Let's see. We can start with nutrition. So, on nutrition, there's a lot of controversy about nutrition. Anywhere from vegan to carnivore to fats are healthy, fats are unhealthy, carbs are bad, carbs are good. So I want to try to do a little bit of clarification on the nutrition portion. Carbs, carbs have gotten a really bad name lately, and there's really a lot of good carbs. And your fruits and your vegetables, those are carbs. Your breads, your pastas, those are carbs. Then you got your sugars and your sweets and your desserts and all those are carbs. And everybody just lumps them into one big pot. And I like to do the fruits and vegetables and actually count those as fibers because they got a lot of natural fibers in them. And then your breads and your pastas and all that would be your regular carbs. And so you want to try to have as much of your good carbs and with your fibers and everything, and just minimize those other carbs that really can do some raise your sugars up and down, kind of like going up the mountains in our trucks. You know, you get, if you're fully loaded and it's really slow but it's going up, and then you just come down and crash. Just like we want a light load and we just want to have straight road and just have it nice and steady. That's kind of how what we want to do with our blood sugars. And that's why nutrition is so important on knowing how to do that. And if you have a food that you just absolutely love and that's what's keeping you from dieting or finding what works for you, that's where you find ways to incorporate it or try to find ways to make it just a little bit healthier. Your fats, there's a lot of healthy fats. There was a really bad study back in the 50s, and that is what started the whole health craze. And fats are bad. And then they started making all the margarines and adding sugars into all of our food. And that's when the health of America just started really declining because of that one bad study. And they're finding out that fats are actually good and they're essential, and we need to incorporate them. So if you like fried food and you just don't want to give up fried food, just find a small change you can do is don't get rid of them because you're not going to stick to anything to getting healthier. You find a healthier oil to cook it in. So two of the really healthier oils is your extra virgin olive oil and your coconut oil. Coconut oil you can actually cook in a higher heat than the extra virgin. Um, so that's just some of the little tricks that you can do. Uh, Resistant starch on your rices and your pastas and your potatoes. Mainly your rice and your potatoes, not so much your pastas, but it's still kind of out and to do that. But if you cook it and then you put it in a refrigerator and then you reheat it, that's what's called a resistant starch. And when you throw in that resistant starch, so instead of making your sugars go up and then crashing, it actually just goes up just a little bit. And so it's not as effective to those blood sugars because you want to try to keep them, pretty steady. If you love you, I like a lot of salads. I love salads. A lot of people don't. Um, your meats, you got really five proteins, different types of proteins, and you want to kind of increase your proteins. None of us really eat enough protein. You pretty much want to eat one uh, protein gram per ideal body weight. So that kind of gives you an idea. It's quite a bit of protein that we should be eating. But you have your red meat, which is your cows, your porks, and all that. You have your fowl, which is your birds, your chicken, your turkey, and your duck, if you eat duck and all that. Uh, Eggs also fall into the fowl. Then you have your fish, uh, your hard shells, your regular fish, your sardines, all that good stuff. A lot of, not a lot, but quite a few of protein. There's that is vegetarian protein. So you do have some of those. And then the last one is what I call high processed protein. That's your protein powders, that's your protein bars. All those are really high processed proteins, but I use them quite a bit because it's easy in the truck. Um, but you definitely want to increase your protein. Uh, and Another trick that I really learned on nutrition. Hey, my protein drawer. Yes, yes, it is. Another really good trick to do is, you know, before you start changing your whole nutrition value portion, you really need to know where you are. So, at least 1 week, do nothing but just track of where you are. And the reason why I say that is because this will get you to know where you need to start your trip planning, where you start figuring out how many miles you're going to do in a day. And you can't do that until you know where you are. And if you track all your food for a week and do it just for knowledge base, not for judgment base, because you want to be able to gradually decrease your calorie intake. And so if you find out that you normally eat about 3,000 calories a day, you don't want to go to 1,800 calories a day to lose weight, because your body's going to be like freaking out saying, "Oh my god, what's going on?" And it's going to start sending you all these hormones and everything, and saying you need to eat because you're not eating what you normally eat. So if you decrease it, um, 15-20%, it's not an exact science. You just play to see what happens. Have no idea. Yeah, I know it is quite a bit of protein. What you do is so if you find out that you're doing 3,000 calories a day, you don't want to cut it in half. You want to do it in baby steps. So maybe do 15-20% decrease. So the 3,000, 10% be 300. So just about 500 calories less a day, and do that for a while until you get used to it and it doesn't, you're not like hungry all the time. And then, maybe the next week or 2 weeks or maybe even the next month, then you take another 400 or 500 calories out and gradually work your way down to where you want. You really don't want to get below 1,800 to 2,000 calories. That's what your body needs to do all the digestion, the breathing, just your normal day to day. That's your calorie intake. If you get below 1,500, that actually is where it starts messing with the hormones and everything. And your hormones is the what communicates with, so your organs communicate with each other with the hormones that they produce, and it communicates with the brain, and it sends out the signals to say that you're hungry or you're full. So that's really like nutrition in a nutshell. Um, I I um I, I don't know how deep to really go into this. Anybody have any questions? Um, Sodium, salt. I like to eat daily salads. That's I actually put it in a cup, and I keep it in so I can eat it while I'm driving, or instead of having a bowl, I just keep it in a cup. I add eggs and chicken to my salad to have that protein in there. And I actually eat my salads in the morning because salads have, they are higher in carbs. That way I can burn those carbs throughout the day. Um, Carbs is like a gasoline engine. So you burn through them pretty quick, and your body will use those first because it's easier for the body to process it. Whereas fats, they take a little bit longer and it's a slower burn, kind of like a diesel engine. It burns slower. So it takes a little bit longer, and that's why it's good to eat those later in the day. So it will hold you over until your breakfast the next day. Um, I do a lot of meal prepping, freezer meals. When I first started, actually, let me grab something real quick. When I first started on my healthier journey, the very first thing I got was a freezer. Hold on, let's see if let me grab this real quick. The very first thing I got was a freezer and a Hot Logic Mini. And the Hot Logic Mini is like a little warmer cooker. And I started with freezer meals that you buy at the grocery store. They're healthier than fast food. And it's one thing I really firmly believe in is that, you don't have to be healthy. You don't have to do the healthiest thing. Just do one little thing a little bit healthier, and then after later on, maybe incorporate something else that's just a little bit healthier. So freezer meals, according to the gurus, are not healthy, but compared to fast food and compared to truck stop food, they can be very healthy. So it just depends on that perspective of what you're comparing it to. I have what's called a Hot Logic Mini. And if you're watching this on video, this is what it looks like. And the ones that's not watching it on video, it's just like, it looks like an insulated bag. And what it has on the bottom of the bag is a warmer plate. And then you just plug it in into an inverter, and you can put it in, dry for 2 or 3 hours. You can dry for 5 hours. It won't overcook it. And it would just keep it in there. It'll warm it up, cook it up. So I'll put it in, I'll dry for 2 or 3 hours. And then when I stop, my food is done. It's hot, it's ready, it's fresh. I don't have to stand in line. I don't have to spend $15-$20 a meal. I only spend $5 or $10 a meal. So it's a lot more cost effective. It's quicker. And then you just throw away the trash and you have a hot meal. And that's the way I started. And now I meal prep. And when I go home, I will cook several meals and then I freeze them. With that freezer Ziploc bag, you can actually stick it in the Hot Logic and it will not burn the bag. So I have hot home cooked food without having to cook. And it just takes a couple of hours, which I'll be driving while it's cooking, and it's really good. Um, so that's nutrition. A couple of things that is there a particular salt? Yes. So Himalayan salt. I was actually fixing to get into that salt before I got distracted. Squirrel. Um, Himalayan salt and Celtic salt. Those are the two best salts to have. The reason being, this, if you can get the Celtic salt, that's actually the better one because it has, oh, don't quote me on the number. It has like 89, I think it is, the minerals that we need for our bodies, for everything to communicate with each other, to help those neurons talk better, and to help go into the cells and to bring in the nutrients that the cells need. So the Celtic salt is the better salt to have, but it is harder to find. The Himalayan salt is good. It has 72 or 73 of the minerals. So you see, it's just missing just a few, not as much as the Celtic, but it's still really good. Table salt, the typical white table salt that we grew up with, that has been ultra processed, and they take out so many of the nutrients in the process of it that they had to put something back in. And the boy, where do you find Celtic salt? Right now, it's been really hard to find it. Usually, like health food stores or Amazon, you can find them there. Um, you used to be able to find them in Walmart, but I haven't been able to find it lately in Walmart. So Trader Joe's, maybe Aldi's, those healthier food chains, you can probably find them in there. Um, but the main key is it's not so much as, potato chips. I used to have a hard time dieting because of potato chips and because of gummy worms and ice cream. Those are like my three weaknesses. Thing I learned about potato chips is you want to try to get the least processed as possible. So Lay's Original is a really good one. It could be cooked in a little bit healthier oil, but you still get all it's got is the potatoes, the salt, and the oil. So it's only got the three things. So it's closer to, and it's not ultra processed like, say, Pringles, which is so processed they can't even put potato chips on their containers. They actually have to put crisp because it's so processed. They're not even really potato chips. Um, so it's just finding the healthier option, and you don't have to do it all at once. So go ahead. We're going to take a break real quick. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Throw on any questions that we can touch on, and we'll be back in just a minute, and I'm going to go over a few more things.
Listen, if anybody's interested in getting into podcasting, grab this book. Go on Amazon, grab this book. It goes with me almost everywhere. This book has like a workbook. It has places you can fill it in. It tells you how to monetize your podcast. It tells you how to set it up. It tells you about sponsorships. It even, listen, go on Amazon, get this book. And this is the Bible for podcasters. Listen, it was ranked #1 in podcasting books. Look right here. Best new podcasting book by Book Authority. Right there. Boom. And a little secret. Y'all, when you grab this book, I think it's page 43, there is a code on there. Listen, you can get access to her class, her course. Get her course. It's worth hundreds of dollars. But this book it's less than $50. Grab this book on Amazon. I'm telling you, I carry it everywhere. She is the best. Grab this book on Amazon.
Hey, welcome back. Yay. Okay, so we left off on nutrition. I just did like a really quick overview onto the nutrition portion. We can definitely go much deeper in a few future shows. Just let me know what you want to know, and we will definitely go that route. I do want to touch a little bit on exercise because, that's what we're supposed to do. And exercising I had a very negative association with the word exercise. And because I had to do it. And my inner rebel was like, no, we're not going to do it because we have to do it. And once I realized that exercise, it's not as simple as calories in, calories out. It's so much more complicated than that. But you definitely want to have purposeful movement daily. Some simple tricks that I like to do is I keep my water way down low. And the food items that I normally do, I'm going to tilt if you're watching. So up there is my upper bunk, and I have a freezer over there, and I actually have a freezer on the other side. I have 2 freezers in my truck now. But so the foods that I normally need, or the items that I use pretty regularly, I keep in the middle of the topper bunk, and I keep my water down low. And the reason being is because I want to be able to have to climb up there to get what I need daily, or I have to bend and squat to get my water that I need daily. And that incorporates more movement throughout my day that I would normally not have if it wasn't within easy reach. So that's one easy way to add into purposeful movement into your day. I like to go hiking whenever I get a chance. Tia and I, my puppy, we walk several miles a day. So the rhythm that I really found that has worked for us, and I highly encourage you just to experiment to see what works for you. But we will get up, we'll walk a couple miles, do our pre-trip, get on the road, drive for about um, 2.5 hours, and then we'll take a 15-20 minute break, whether it would be at a shipper's, dropping and hooking, live unloading, whatever the break, your fuel stop, we will do that and walk around for at least 15-20 minutes. Then we'll go and we'll drive for another 2.5 hours, give or take. And we will do that multiple times throughout the day. And then we stop post trip, and then we'll walk for another 20-30 minutes. And throughout just that day, we usually get in about 5 or 6 miles a day. I love taking pictures of our hikes. So I do a lot of photography, which really helps bring a lot of joy to me and being able to share our journey. Um, and then, so it gets me out of the truck, just finding little things to get out of the truck, take pictures, get out of the truck, walk, just walk around the truck. When I first started, before I got Tia, because Tia makes me get out of the truck, I would have a portable stepper that I would keep in the passenger floorboard, and I would use that to get my steps in, especially when I didn't feel safe. Uh, so that was a really big help. I've heard people having the kind of like a elliptical, but it actually folds up really small and it fits behind the seat. So there's a lot of different little things. Just, what activity do you like? It doesn't have to be anything that is strenuous. I mean, I don't, a lot of us, we think when we want to get healthy, we have to work out an hour or two a day. And it's not, it's just incorporating a little bit more movement throughout your day. And that little bit adds up, just like with the nutrition, just don't do the whole 3,000 calories, just, cut back just a little bit. It's just like when we get a load that goes from East Coast to West Coast. We're not going to try to do it in one day. We're going to do a little chunk, and then we're going to rest, recuperate, and then we're going to do a little chunk, rest, recuperate. And it's the same thing when you're trying to get healthier, especially here on the road. And experiment, because after you want to try something, you hear someone, let's just say, okay, say the keto diet, say, because a lot of people had a lot of good things about keto diet, and you want to try it. Well, try it for a week, and then do an after action review. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? What can you adapt to keep the parts that you like? Or you can just throw it away. It's and just say, oh, yep, that one's not for me. And then just keep experimenting, and you make your own rules to find what works for you in your truck on the road that you can stick with. And that is what healthier is. It's not being the best of the best. It's what works for you in the truck that's just a little bit healthier than what you were doing yesterday. And that is like the biggest key. Some of the questions that I came across in the Facebook group is a lot of people was asking about blood pressure, high blood pressure. One of the main things about high blood pressure is that it's actually your kidneys that regulates your blood pressure. So, and your kidneys also filter out your water and what you drink, and filters out your waste. Kidneys are also in charge of your adrenals, which we get a lot of little mini micro adrenal rushes throughout the day when people cut us off and our heart stops, like, oh my God, I can't believe I almost hit them. Or when you're pulling into a customer and you're like, oh, am I going to be able to make this back? And you feel your adrenaline kicking in. All that is on your kidneys, and your kidneys' best friend is water. Um, but none of us likes to drink water because we're constantly having to use the bathroom, or it's just boring. And a lot of health gurus don't think you should do additives in your water. um, I believe if that's what it takes to get you to drink more water, put it in there. Just try to minimize the sugar. But the easiest thing with the water, it usually takes your kidneys 30 to 40 minutes to filter a bottle of water once you drink it. So it's about timing. So if you know you're going to be on the road in about, an hour, go ahead and drink a bottle of water. Yes, kidneys do regulate your blood pressure. It's fascinating how that works. Your heart actually pumps it through there, but the enzymes that tells your body to have your blood pressure higher or lower is actually produced through the kidneys. And that's why we want to take care of our kidneys. It's a lot more important than what, besides just filtering out waste. And but time your water intake. And if you know what, if you don't want to get rid of your soda because you love your soda, trust me, I used to drink 18 Dr. Peppers a day. I was a Dr. Pepper addict, and I never thought I would never drink Dr. Pepper. And I can't tell you the last time I had a Dr. Pepper. But when I first started, I would actually, on my healthier journey, I was not getting rid of my Dr. Pepper at all. And but what I did is I started incorporating a water in between my Dr. Peppers. And then just gradually over time, I just kind of increased the water and decreased the Dr. Peppers without even realizing it or making a conscious effort. It just kind of evolved naturally. And then, so that's one way to regulate, because the water also keeps your blood from getting too thick. Just like exercise and movement, it has a lot to help with your happy hormones in your brain. And your calves are very important also in your circulatory system, because gravity and your heart will get the blood pumping out and down, but your calves help get that blood and everything back up because it's fighting gravity. So a couple movements that you can do while you're driving and you have your cruise control on and you're not in the middle of the city, you always practice. Um, I've never have tried sea moss. I am actually looking into that right now. Lots of fascinating stuff with that. Um, very, very good. But skin healthy. Yes. So you definitely want to. I shower in the middle of the day, and I shower usually every other day. Uh, and that will, because showering every day, you actually strip your body of natural oils. So I shower every other day, and then I keep chemical free wipes in the truck just to freshen up at night before I go to bed. And your sunscreen, if you want to use sunscreen, use sunscreen. I typically will put a shirt over my arms while I'm driving to keep the UV rays off of me. The windows that we have sun exposure through, it actually is made, and there's two UV lights. You got your alpha and your beta. And right now, I don't want to get misquoted. One is good, one is bad, or and I can't remember which. I think the alpha is the good one and the beta is the bad one, but I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. but the windows are made to actually filter out the good UV rays, and the bad UV rays are actually what comes through. So you want to try to keep those rays off of your skin as much as possible through the window. Now, if you can get it through just actual real rays, it won't be as bad because you'll have both of them. So that's one really important trick, because we have those windows on us all the time, and that's what filters in and out those UV rays. Some people like sunscreen, some people don't. It's really your preference. It does help. But if you don't want to, you can always just put something over you just to help protect from those UV rays. Avocado is a very good healthy fat. I love avocados. Glucose equals weight. Carbs does not equal glucose. No. That is one of my big pet peeves. Because carbs it can be fiber, and glucose is essentially sugar. And so there's good carbs, which has a lot of fiber and which is natural. And then you have your high processed. The main thing is just stay away from the high processed stuff as much as possible. So the more processed it is, the unhealthier it can be. But you got to remember, just everything is processed. You get organic food and you cook it in the kitchen. Well, that is a process. You are processing the food. So, but when you start using the super high heat to process, and you start throwing in a whole bunch of chemicals to process, or you take out nutrients to process it, and then you put nutrients back in, that's where the health issues start coming from, because it has so much high process in it. Then another question that I really saw with the blood pressure and then obesity is alpha can't penetrate beta, hence the name beta burn. Okay, thank you for clarifying. I always get them flip-flops, so it's good to know. Another good one is calcium and vitamin K2. K2 actually helps you absorb that vitamin D in, which the vitamin D helps with it's all very interlinking, and but those are some really good supplements to take if you take your vitamin D. You want to take it with the K2, because the K2 helps you absorb that vitamin D in. Another reason why exercise is so important is not because of the calories in, calories out, but when you use your muscles are connected to tendons, and the tendons are connected to bones. And that's what allows you to bend your arm, is the muscle is constricting, which pulls on the tendon, which pulls your arm into you, and then it'll relax, which relaxes that tendon, and it relaxes that arm. That pulling and constricting on your muscles on that bone is actually what strengthens your bone and helps prevent osteoporosis. And so that's another reason why exercising or purposeful movement is so important, is to keep your bones strong too. Let's see. So the three main health concerns that I noticed in the She Trucking Facebook group, that was going to be the high blood pressure, which I kind of touched on. And please comment, let us know, and what it's going to be, what more information you want on, because I can go so much deeper on these. You got your blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. So we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to touch on diabetes when we come back.
Electricity is cheaper than diesel fuel, and charging overnight means you never have to stop at the diesel stations again. Maintenance costs are lower because EVs don't require oil changes or replacements of high-cost combustion engine parts. You'll also be eligible for tax incentives and grants funded by programs like HVIP.
I don't like this. There are cars everywhere.
Bobby's, you're about to get on the interstate,
Oh
so
my
slow
God.
the truck down.
Oh, God.
Slow the truck down. For real, slow the truck down. Stay over here on the left, okay? Take your high side. Go up here, okay?
I cannot believe I'm getting on the interstate.
Accelerate. Stay on this side, accelerate. Go faster. Go faster. Faster, Bobby, faster.
Crap.
Look at all this traffic.
There are cars everywhere.
And now we're going to take it to the highest gear that you've ever been in. We're going to take it to the 10th gear.
Now?
Now. There we go.
10th gear, baby!
Hey, I'm Todd Spencer, president of OOIDA. We're here at the Walcott Truckers Jamboree. Want to let everybody know that OOIDA is started by truckers 50 years ago this year, started by truckers to give them a voice in Washington, D.C., and in other places as well. We have members that are drivers, members that are owner-operators, members that are small fleet truckers, and some members that are just supporters of the industry. But you're all welcome. If we work together, we can address some of the serious issues in trucking. And believe me, we have some serious issues that you know all too well. So, hey, we are stronger together. Be a part of what we do. We have an office in D.C. We know how to communicate with the lawmakers. Just need the support of you all. So join, please.
Hey, welcome back. We have been having a lot of good conversation coming in, and I'm loving these questions. We have touched on nutrition. We have touched on purposeful movement, aka exercise. We have touched on high blood pressure, and now I kind of want to go over diabetes. This is actually what has scared me healthy. Diabetes. My aunt was diagnosed with diabetes in her 30s, and she died at the age of 48 due to complications of diabetes. 1 in 3 Americans will be diagnosed with diabetes, and they say 2 in 1 Americans have pre-diabetes that's undiagnosed and just don't know it yet. I had the pre-diabetes diagnosis, and with my aunt happening, I was like, no, we are going to find something. We are going to get healthy, and we're going to stop playing. And I was able to lose the 60 pounds during the year I was going to health and life coaching school. And through that process, I drove almost 130 miles that year, lost the 60 pounds, and lost my pre-diabetes diagnosis. And I was able to keep it off 3 years later, and I'm still working on it. And I just watch, and that's the reason why I watch so much with my sugars and try to keep that steady level as much as possible instead of those huge roller coasters. And I saw statistics. There is 3.2 million semi-truck drivers, and they're saying 70% of truck drivers will get diagnosed with diabetes. So this is like really, really important, and it can be very scary diagnosis. A lot of doctors or modern medicine will say this is a progressive disease and it cannot be prevented or it cannot be reversed, which has been proven false. It can be with hard work. One of the main things that worked for me was I would learn to look at labels, and I would not tell myself I couldn't have something if it had a lot of sugar in it. I would ask myself, is all this sugar worth it? And does it meet what goals I want? Or am I just wanting it just to have it out of habit? Or am I wanting it because I'm an emotional? And I've just learned to figure it out. And one of the main things that I look at the nutrition labels is I look at that one line that says added sugars. And if it had more than 6 grams of added sugars, I didn't pay attention to total carbs. I didn't pay attention to any of the other stuff. Only thing I paid attention when I started out was just that added sugar. And if it had more than 6 grams of added sugar in it per serving, I would question myself if that's what I wanted. That was the biggest key for me to help with my weight loss journey. Diabetes is, I don't know how deep to get into this because this can get pretty deep. Your pancreas is what sends, whenever you eat a lot of sugar, sends out hormones and insulin to say, hey, we need to bring those sugars down. When my aunt had diabetes, she said that the doctor explained it to her that when your glucose levels or your blood sugar levels get so high, it's like having shards of glass just floating through your bloodstream. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because it can, sorry, it's really emotional. But it can wreak havoc on your body inside. Water does help dilute it. So when diabetics come into the hospital with super high sugar levels, they will hook them up to IVs to help dilute it. So that's another reason why water is important. It does help dilute it some. But the main thing with it's just 70% of truck drivers can have diabetes, y'all. That's just such a scary number. And it's just so easy to find ways not that. There's different little tricks. So obviously watch your sugar intake. If you had a long night of driving and you just want a bowl of cereal, there's nothing wrong with having a bowl of cereal. Just add some fiber and add some protein to that bowl of cereal. And what that does is it helps the body not absorb it as fast. So if you add some fiber and add some protein to a bowl of cereal, it would actually keep your blood sugars from going way up and going down. It would just spike it a little bit. So that's just some of the little tips on the diabetes to keep in. If you want great questions, am I hungry or is it emotional? Well, for me, and this is where you start learning how to pay attention to your body, because everybody's different. For me, when I'm craving sweets, I am emotional. I'm bored, I'm tired, I'm emotional, just along those lines. When I'm craving something salty like chips, I have found out that I am dehydrated, so I will drink more water. So that's kind of what has worked for me, and it's just questioning what works for you, and that's the hardest thing. Fiber suggestions for cereal. Fruit will work. If it has a skin, it has more fiber. If you peel the skin, it has less fiber. So that's one way to kind of keep that in mind. But yes, actually eat the fruit first and then eat the bowl of cereal, because that fiber will get into the system, which will help the sugar when you eat the cereal. Because we all know at the end of a long drive day, we don't want to do anything, and that's just quick and easy. But we are going to go ahead and wrap up. We are almost at an hour, y'all. You can reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. If we're not friends, it's hard for me to get the messages. So send me a friend request, and then I can get your messages quicker. You can reach me in She Trucking. Facebook group. If you have questions, that's actually the best place to ask them, because if you have the question, another driver will have the question, and we can help each other out in the community. She Trucking has been doing this wonderful thing where we're having different hosts and to help all of us be successful in different areas. Cindy is doing the introducing all the moderators and everybody, and she's really big on that work-life balance. So she's going to have a lot of great tips with that. John, she is really helping out with other aspects in the transportation industry, and she's really big on trafficking, sex trade. So tune into her shows. And then me, I'm doing the health and wellness segments. So please send questions to all of us. That way we can get these shows geared towards what you need, so you can be successful in the transportation industry. And that is what She Trucking is all about. We do want to mention this is the end of the truck driver appreciation, and just thank everybody for their donations of everything that we've been doing. And She Trucking is handing out gifts to drivers. So if you haven't received yours yet, it's coming. It's coming. Just give it a little bit longer, but we got you. And y'all have a blessed night out there. Bye.
For all my ladies out there trucking towards they goals. Let's go. She gon' take care of her biz, she trucking, she trucking. She a woman with a rig, she trucking, she trucking. She gon' take care of her kids, she trucking, yeah. She a boss, she do it big, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking. She a boss, she do it big, she trucking, she trucking. She a woman with a rig, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking. Often hated, never duplicated. We underestimate it cause it's male dominated, but we getting payment like it's money motivated. Our clientele rated while they dragging, we gon' slay it. By the hour, we them girls and we got power. Haters everywhere like some patches, they be sour. Dropping lows on the road and we be runners. You can never do it like us and that's a bummer. They got my back so I got my girls with me. I can't be like you cause the shoes just won't fit me. All these moves and we make it all happen. We just show and prove while the rest of y'all rapping. Clocking in and making ends, run them racks up. Focus like a lens, we don't focus on the trends, nah. Like instructors pulling in, told them back up. Focus and pretend we don't notice who they is, nah. She gon' take care of her biz, she trucking, she trucking. She a woman with a rig, she trucking, she trucking. She gon' take care of her kids, she trucking, yeah. She a boss, she do it big, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking, she trucking. She a boss, she do it big, she trucking, she trucking. She a woman with a rig, she trucking.
Become an exclusive member of She Trucking. Benefits include sister chat and mentorship, online trainings and workshops, Audible Book Club, exclusive meet and greet events, and community mobile app. Plus get a free life planner when you sign up. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to www.shetrucking.com to join.
Be strong.